तो अनम्यूट करना चाहिए ना, म्यूट कर दी, अनम्यूट।
गिरा क्यों रहे बेटा, प्लेट उलेट में रख के खाते ना, हर चीज के लिए बोलेंगी। खून खौल जाता है मेरा, इसीलिए मार देते हैं। जाओ नीचे, जाओ नीचे, जाओ खाओ पियो।
ஆமா அத்தை மீட்டிங் ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க. சாப்பிடு போவா அவங்க வரங்க ஆயிரம்.
बाबू दरेश, चाय बना दो बेटा। सुनो तो दरेश, देखा कर मत करो, इधर आकर पियो, उसको बुलाओ यहीं पे। हटाओ उसके हाथ से, हटाओ। तुम क्यों हाथ में ले रहे?
साउंड नहीं है क्या?
तो मैम शुरू करें।
Yes, please.
स्मिता मैम प्लीज।
Hello. Am I audible? Norima, right now? Very good morning to all of you. On behalf of School of Studies in Literature and Languages, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, and my own behalf, I, Dr. Smita Sharma, extend my hearty welcome to respected dignitaries, the Chief Patron of the conference, Professor Keshri Lal Verma, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, Honorable Professor Girish Kant Pandey, Registrar, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, Honorable Professor Shail Sharma, Chairperson and Head, School of Studies in Literature and Languages, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, our distinguished guests, respected Dr. A.K. Paliwal from Hamidia PG College, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, respected Dr. Gajendra Singh Chauhan from BITS Pilani, respected Dr. Deepa Chandran Ram from Deakin University, Victoria, Australia, the presenters and the participants on the second day of the International E-Conference on Language, Literature and Media in Contemporary Times. So to start the program, I seek the permission of the chair. May I? We are very delighted to have with us Honorable Professor Girish Kant Pandey, Registrar, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, and I feel extremely privileged to introduce him. Dr. Girish Kant Pandey, presently working as a Registrar of Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur. His academic achievements are commendable. He graduated as a Bachelor of Science in Maths, Physics, and Defense Studies. Continuing in the same vein, he did his Master's in Defense Studies. He was awarded his doctorate in 1996 on his research in the area of Naxalite movement in Bastar district. He further received his D.Litt in 2013 for his research on Naxalite movement in Chhattisgarh. He joined the university as an assistant professor on 20th November 1989 and receiving many accolades in the university, was conferred with the position of professor in 2016. He has an extensive teaching experience spanning 31 years, both in undergraduate and postgraduate courses, further contributing to the field of academics. He has authored 5 books on defense studies and has also published 61 research papers in reputed national and international journals. He has also done valuable work in the field of Maoist insurgency and science and technology in warfare, which earned him a highly reputed status in these fields. He is an honorable member of Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis, that is IDSA. He has also received many revered accolades in the field of teaching. He was honored as the best teacher by State Bank of India in 2002-03, by Lions Club Greater in 2004-05, and Lions Club Everest in 2005-6. He was also awarded the prestigious Chhattisgarh Ratna Award by Mahakaushal Kala Parishad. He has been awarded the Outstanding Vocational Award by Rotary Club of Raipur Greater and the most prominent Shiksha Ratna Puraskar Certificate of Excellence by India International Friendship Society in 2013. He also has extensive administrative experience as Project Director of National Child Labour Project, Collectorate of Raipur, Special Assistance to Honorable Education Minister in Mantralaya, Raipur, and Deputy Director in Higher Education Directorate, Government of Chhattisgarh. He has also served as the Registrar of Kushabhau Thackeray Journalism and Mass Communication, University, Raipur. He recently completed his mini research project in Chhattisgarh Council of Science and Technology. He continues with his pioneering work in the fields of defense, security, education, and administration. Sir, so I humbly invite to address the session Honorable Professor Girish Kant Pandey, sir.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Namaskar to all of you.
Namaskar.
Firstly, I express my thanks to Linguistic Department of our university for inviting me to say something about this valuable topic in existing time of the world. I express my gratitude to patron Professor Kesrilal Verma sir, our Vice Chancellor, Chairperson Professor Sail Sharma Madam, HOD, Convener Dr. Madhu Kamra, Co-Convener Dr. Ismita Sharma, from organizing team Dr. Madhulata Bara, Dr. Girja Shankar, Dr. Kriti Tiwari, Dr. Shukla Banerjee, a senior English professor, Dr. Jaya Tiwari, Professor Vikas, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Dear participants, we know that language, dialects, or medium of expression is ongoing process. We also know that during the ongoing process, so many new words includes and so many existing words are left in language of society. We know that if language is flexible or adaptable from the other words, the life of language is so long, as well as if the language has not ability to adopt new words, means the particular language is going to the path of dead ends. Dear participants, language, literature, and media correlate and influence each other. We know that we are living in the age of information. The information flows on our mind from all parts of the world. Now, in the existing time, every types of media like print media, mass media, electronic media, social media, and so on are impact our language and literature. During the 2G period of mobile phone, brother became bro, sister became sis, TO2 became numerical 2, and so on. As well as so many languages adopt lot of scientific word as it is, like mobile became mobile in Hindi, or every word. Nobody says mobile is a durdhani or chaldhani. Everybody speak and write only mobile. So this adaptability is significant. Dear participants, we know that भाषा और साहित्य समाज का दर्पण होता है, अतः हम नहीं चाहते कि आने वाली पीढ़ी में कोई अशुद्धि आए। इसलिए भाषा और साहित्य में प्रवेश करने वाले अशुद्धियों को लगातार हटाना भी जरूरी है। At last, I am saying that the language is ongoing process, and this process influenced by media as well as the expression of language impact the literature. I hope that this webinar has contributed to the growth of scientific knowledge of linguistics and throw light on the new path of the enriching of the literature. Thanks to all participants for listening me, and thanks to organizing committee for given opportunity to express my views on this platform. Thanks a lot, and over to Smita. Over to Smita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom. It will be a great pleasure for us to listen to you again in the future events. Thank you so much, sir. So now moving forward to the program, it's time to begin the first session, the first plenary session. And we rarely get this kind of opportunity to listen the words of a great knowledgeable guest speaker, Honorable Professor A.K. Paliwal. And it would be my honor to introduce today's guest of speaker of the first plenary session, respected Professor Paliwal. Dr. A.K. Paliwal, Professor of English, Government Hamidia PG College, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, Barkatullah University, is an eminent scholar and a professor of English in MP. Has more than 40 years of experience as an educationist, research guide, and examiner, and expert in MPPSC, CGPSC, and UPPSC, and other public exam bodies and boards. He has keen interest in national and social issues. So I would humbly invite Professor Paliwal to address the session.
Thank you, Smita. Are you hearing me?
Thank you.
I'm laudable.
Yes, sir.
Voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Very much.
yes, sir. Please.
So first of all, good morning to all for today's presentation. And I especially thank the Vice Chancellor of Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Professor K.L. Verma Sahab, Honorable Chair Dr. Girish Kant Pandeji, Convener Professor Madhu Kamraji, Co-Convener Smita Sarmaji, Professor Chandrasekhar Sarmaji, and Vikas Panchayat Shri. Today, I have chosen a topic which gaps the bridge between literature and media. You know, most of us are associated with literature, and we have also exposure to media also. And we find that there is a close association and difference between the two, literature and media. In this presentation, I would like to have a very minute observation of mine on the two branches of knowledge. One is literature and the other is media. And the topic, as is visible on the screen, literature and media in present times. The focus is mainly on present times. What is happening in the field of literature and in the field of media today. And you will find that we are all influenced by literature and also by media. And in these days, in these circumstances, if I am not making a loud statement, I feel that media has engrossed us more than literature. We are reading less and expressing more. Media includes here all kinds of media, print media, electronic media, and the recent one, social media. People are again and again relying on these media wings and trying their best to express their views. And sometimes we find that we are overburdened by the onslaught of media. So I hope that you will enjoy my topic and come forward with your comments and will agree. First of all, we will have a fair idea of what literature is. In fact, literature is mirror of society, as we all know. It is a larger cultural body so far as if we compare it with media. It is both instructive and entertaining. Literature, the main thing is it is very entertaining and instructive also. There are two views on literature. One is literature for art's sake, and then literature for society, where you focus more on society. You express the plight of the society, the difficulties of the common people. So these two views are very common in the field of literature. And there is no doubt that literature has the power to facilitate personal understanding and encourage social cohesion. Without literature, we cannot think that there will be a social cohesion, because literature is always there to help the people to take forward the humanity. Humanitarian view is the main thrust of literature, and we find that in any branch of literature, in any literature of any clime or country, you will find that literature is always for humanity. It is always for social cohesion. It has saved civilizations. Think of any civilization in the world, you will find that the great literatures have developed great civilizations, great cultures. And they have also changed the political setups. There are any number of examples in history where you will find that literature has played an immense role in changing the political system, in changing the governments, in toppling the governments, in bringing out new setup of governments. So this is also to be kept in our mind, and it also exposed injustice of all sorts. It may be of any kind of injustice. We find that literary people have raised a voice against any injustice anywhere in the society. It gives a detailed preview of almost all human experiences. We find that all human experiences are there to be found in literature. As we popularly know, even in our Mahabharata, it is commonly said that what is not there in Mahabharata, that is not there in life. So literature has got a very wide canvas where we can learn all sorts of human experiences, expressed so well, presented so well, and we find all the good and bad characters there. Sometimes I feel that life is a big fiction where you find all sorts of characters, good characters, bad characters, all sorts of characters are there. And they influence us. We learn a lot of, actually fiction is always there as a matter of fact, a slice of life, a slice of life, cut from life. So we learn a lot of things of life through literature. It has a very soothing effect so far as our development of life is concerned. We always find very good characters, very good values, very good uh, experiences through literature, and this way literature enhances our view of life. It gives a larger view of life. And if we compare literature with media, we'll find that both are influential and impactful on human society. There is no doubt. Media is also impactful on human society, on human life, but there is a slight difference. The impact of literature is gradual and slow, but the impact of media is very fast and sometimes it is instantaneous. We are immediately affected by the media, and this is the weakness of media also, that we are generally swayed away by media. Media is not very much different from propaganda, and though it is not a proper word for media, but I am using it for practical purposes. Propaganda. All the time on media, you will find that a lot of propaganda is there. We are swayed away by it, and sometimes we are not using our intellect whether the things displayed in media are proper for us or not. And here lies the risk of media. In literature, we find a very concentrated view of life. And here we find a very diluted or rather propagated view of life. This is something very strange. And you will find that if we go again and again, we find there are a lot of differences between literature and media. The two are parallel streams of life, but there are differences. If we compare literature and media, we will find that both are influential and impactful on human society. Both are able to elevate the society and at the same time devaluate. Not only media and literature are able to elevate our life, enhance the quality of our life, they are also able to devaluate the quality of life, the experiences of life. But while literature is influential and influences society slowly, the impact of media on society is vast and in certain cases is instantaneous. As we find in the present circumstances, we find that COVID-19 has engrossed our life. We are all the time, knowingly, unknowingly, thinking about COVID-19, and media has played a greater role in sensitizing and sensationalizing the issue. Nowadays, people are almost captivated by the possibilities of non-discriminatory media such as TV shows and popular music, etc. We find that all the time these media shows have influenced our social life, professional life, personal life. This is too much of media that our life is being governed by media and the various aspects of media presentations. The focus of education and culture has shifted away from the intellectual to the sensual. This is a great danger that we are facing today. That and again, the influence of media is so much that our focus on life has got a diversion. It has been diverted from the main issues to the unreal issues, from the intellectual to the sensual, towards the instant gratification of physical stimulation. This is the byproduct of media, and media means I cover all the wings of media. It may be film industry, or it may be TV industry, TV shows, music, popular music, I mean, and also the role of social media through its various wings and programs. Towards the instant gratification of physical stimulation, again and again we are stimulated more by media, and it affects our life in such a way that sometimes we are not using our mind to govern our life. This is a very strange happening that we are noticing today. Initially, this is seen as a solution to our short-term problems, but actually it is not a solution. It is not at all solution. You see, we can be swayed away by the spread of media, but we will not get a proper direction. The society cannot get a proper direction. It cannot take a right route. Initially, this is seen as a solution to our short-term societal problems and to divert the attention of the sensible people. But this is no solution, and media can hardly give any solution to us. It can influence our life, it can influence our thinking, but it can hardly give any direction to us. As we find in literary pieces, in artistic pieces, there is a clear-cut direction, there is a clear-cut uh, light in our mind, but in the case of media productions, we do not find this type of thing. And this is a very, very poor aspect of media, and where I think that literature can play a vital role in society, in our life, in increasing the quality of human life, in facing the troubles of life. This thing we cannot find in media wings or in the productions of media. Now, one more point, we find that on the one hand, literature is thought, as I have already expressed this view, that literature is always thought provoking. It influences our intellect. It gives us an opportunity to think more about life, which is not possible in media productions. In an era of modern media, people are often misled into thinking that every question or problem has its quick solution. But this is not the case. You see, problems are so complicated in life so complex in life that we cannot find the solution immediate. Sometimes there is no clear-cut solution. There is no express solution. We have to go and a long way think over the matter and use our intellect. Only then we can find some kind of solution. It will be a very light solution. You cannot say that you have arrived at a conclusion which is final. Life is so complex, complicated that you cannot find the final solution, the final answer, which media persons are imposing on us. Again and again, they give solutions, and you see, life is so complicated, full of complexity that you cannot find a solution in such a hurried way. That is my humble submission. One of the literature's main qualities is that it is open to personal interpretation. Here, this point is very important and pertinent that in literature, we find some answer to a problem. And we find a scope for personal interpretation and explanation. This thing is not possible in media. Media so engrosses us that sometimes we are bereft of our personal interpretation, personal explanation. Rather, I would say that there is no scope for personal interpretation or explanation. We are given ready-made solutions by the media persons, which is not to be found, which is not in any way real or beneficial to humanity. In one will agree or disagree to the fact that the role of media on society is quite visible today. This is a matter of concern for us. The role of media is quite visible. It has entered into our daily life, in our personal life, in social life, that all the time for every time in morning and evening we are influenced by media and its influence. And the thing has become more complicated with the advent of social media in our life. Lot of WhatsApps are there, lots of Instagrams are there, lots of other things are there, and they make our life more complicated. We find no solution. This solution we can find only through literature, because literature is a serious matter. It is a serious thing. It guides us in the hour of crisis. Media does not guide us, gives us light if we are in a critical or a critical moment of life. So it may be positive or negative, but the impact of media is there, and we have to agree to this view that somehow we may like it or not, but media has entered into our life and it has rather diminished the role of literature in our life. We are more media focused than literature oriented. This is something very serious so far as the present life and its problems are concerned. The entry of social media is very noticeable here in our times, and its importance cannot, I'm not underestimating the importance of social media. It is always there because it is very quick, the messaging is very fast, but social media cannot rule the roost. We are somehow swayed by social media, and our feelings, our emotions are severely affected by social media. This is not a proper thing to be seen in our life. Then we have to talk about the various wings of social media or media. We have the print media here. In every morning, we find the newspapers, lot of newspapers are there. But somehow I feel that newspapers are helping in many ways, which is not possible in other social media forms, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, or Telegram. Communication is fast, but the communication is not so much effective, so much guiding in our personal life as it should be. And for that, we have to blame the media on, because media has been made for this purpose only. It has the fastness, the quickness, but it cannot have the smoothing and a, soothing effect that we have in literature. So we find that literature influences society slowly, but the impact of media is very fast, and sometimes it is instantaneous. No doubt it is quick and fast, but it is influencing our life in a very, very wrong way, in which we find that literature can compensate much. It can help us a lot in getting solutions to the problems of life. Then, in the time, I mean, in the present time, the world and our country is facing gigantic problems. Epidemic is there. COVID-19 is influence our life so much. There are problems like unemployment, pessimism, economic slowdown is there, political turmoil is there, not only at national level but also at international level. The two theories about art and literature. Now we come to the two theories which are well established in the field of literature. That literature is mainly divided and guided by two theories. One is art for art's sake, and the other is art for society. For the society's sake. Now, in old time, our old masters, they may be in the field of music, they may be in the field of literature or art. They were all for art's sake. It was a pure art. But now it is a recent development of 100 years or more than 100 years, where we find that literature and art has become to serve the purpose of society, to serve the purpose of life. I'm not saying that which branch or which ideology in literature is beneficial to us, but we find that both are there in literature. We find that literature for art's sake is pure literature, and literature with message, literature with some instruction, literature for the sake of society, for the sake of life is a recent development in the field of literature. Again, again, we find writers which are writing and dealing with the problems of in 19th and 20th century, there was so much literature which came here that we find that writers, literary persons, they are focusing more on the problems of life, on the problems of society. For example, we have a galaxy of writers if we take the instances from the literature. we find that there are literary persons like Keats, Tennyson, Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot, or in Hindi, we have the Reetkaleen poets, or in Chayawadi poets. They were all pure literary persons. In their literature, we find that there is only enjoyment and it is blissful enjoyment. There is no direct messaging, there is no direct instruction. But if we compare the other literature which is exclusively written and influenced by certain ideologies, by certain social problems, it is uh, a literature which is devoted to our society and societal problems. It is the people's literature. In other words, we can say it is people's literature. But if it is used for propagating social ideas, but there is again a problem there. If literature is used for propagating certain ideas or floating some new social ideas of life, the messaging is there and it somehow misses the charm and the evergreen pleasure of literature that we find in old masters. For example, if we consider writers like Walt Whitman in America, Mark Twain, Balzac, Stendhal, Flaubert, Victor Hugo, Goethe, Cervantes, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Gorky, Premchand, Kabir, Page, Joss, and S.H. Minto. They were the writers who were writing not for the art for art's sake, they were writing for the society's sake. They were writing for the problems of the society. They were fighting for the problems of the people, common people that we find. So we find that the concept of art for social purpose is largely a recent origin. It is a history not more than 100 years. You cannot like in utopia and bring such literature which is devoid of any social responsibility. But the main advantage of this kind of literature is that it is not only solving our problem, but also helping in marching through our smooth sailing of life. So it is very beneficial for the common people. Because again and again, this helps us in fighting the problems of the common man, the sufferings of the common man, and the social injustices that are met in their life. So somehow this type of writers have tried to mitigate the sufferings of the common people. They have guided the people. They have given a message how to fight the problems of life. Today, the people of India are looking for good and great literature as we have in our past masters. Unfortunately, today, the literary persons are a divided house today. They are swayed away by some ideology. They are not writing for the pleasure of writing. They are just influencing, trying to influence the people, which is not very correct or beneficial for the society and even for writing also. Because if the writers are swayed away by some ideology, it will never be a great literature. So the main thing is that literature must have a either be pure enjoyment. It should never be a propagandist literature. And if some message is there, message should be indirect. It should never be direct message. It should always be indirect. Instruction is good in literature, but you cannot instruct the people in a right way. You cannot influence the people directly. If you want to induce some influence, influence must always be indirect. It should be slow, it should be gradual. There should not be any thrust of ideas in the making of literature, good literature. Some way or the other, we find that today most of the literature is guided by certain ideology. Now, if the literature is guided by certain ideology, we will never find a real literature. Literature is never direct ideology because there are pamphlets, there are propaganda which people can go through. There are history books which we can, but in literary writings, we cannot have the direct message. Message should always be indirect. Instruction may be there, message must be there, but it should be within the framework of literature so that the people can enjoy. Literature is always there to guide the people, to please the people. If there are instruction, the instruction must be with certain enjoyment. If the enjoyment is not missing, is not there or it is missing, it cannot be a good literature. It cannot be a good example of literature. So we find that today, as is the case with media, same is the case with literature also. People are not coming up with good literature. The reason is very obvious. The reason is very clear that we are not getting good literature, enjoyable literature. It is a guided literature influenced by certain ideology. It may be left or right, but if ideology is there, the literary persons can never do justice to literature with their writings. So it is my clear opinion that literature must be always for enjoyment. As in Sanskrit, the term sahitya, sahit simply means sahitin, means it is beneficial to us. It should be beneficial to us. It can never address a slice of life. It can never address a particular section of society. Literature is always for the entire society. It should be for entire society, for entire humanity. If you find and go through the world literatures, you will find that great literary figures, great masters of literature are always for humanity, for the entire society. They never support any ideology, particular ideology. They never support a particular section of the society. If we have certain fragmented examples of literature, we never put it in the category of good literature, great literature. It is always a fractured view of life, and great literature is always giving the full picture of life. It is never a fractured view of life. So, in my opinion, literature should not be swayed away by any ideology. It should be pure in its form. It should be pure in its enjoyment. It may have certain message, but message should never be direct. Now, if we value these things, we'll find that these things are not available in today's media. And I'm very sorry to observe and very sorry to say that in India, today the media is not playing its proper role. There are certain divisions, there are certain big media houses which are influencing the news writers, which are influencing the public opinion in a wrong way. In my view, news should be news only. It cannot have any view. If it has any particular view, the news is only a biased one. It is not pure news. It is not proper news. So in news, there should not be any view. But unfortunately, what we see in today's media, we find that again and again, media is influenced by certain ideology, by certain governments, by certain government agencies, by certain media houses and their policies. This is a very pitiable situation in India and elsewhere also. Not only in India, I'm not talking in terms of India only. Everywhere we find, even if we take the present scenario in the event of pandemic COVID-19, the role of WHO is not very clear. The role of different governments is not very clear. And who is ultimately suffering? The people, the common masses are suffering. The illiterate people, the uneducated people are suffering. They don't have any direction to see. There is no one to guide them, neither the governmental agencies nor our international forums like WHO and World Bank. They are not helping the people, and people are suffering a lot because they are not playing their role in a proper way. So this is my clear submission, clear opinion that media is not guiding the people which is should. If media is misguiding the people or taking sides or stands, is not a good media. In good old days, BBC has a very good credibility in the field of news and views. Because BBC was always fair, its commentators and correspondents were always fair. They were not taking any sides, and their news were always analytical. But here we find in today's circumstances, most of the time, our media persons are making sensational news. They float a news, and after 1 or 2 days, there is no follow, as though they are creating news stories for the sake of sensation, for sensationalizing the people, for increasing their TRP, and they are not playing any good role, constructive role in the making of the society or in making the experience of the people richer. If we talk in terms of the examples in the present circumstances, take the murder mystery of or the suicidal mystery of actor Susansi. Media persons are floating different stories, but no story is authentic, no story is fair. Again and again, they are sensationalizing the matter and increasing their TRP. And this thing is very inexcusable in the interest of the people, in the interest of the common man. Media should be more responsible. Our literary persons should be more responsible because they are the beacon light for the common people, for the society. If they are not doing their fair job, the society will be at risk. The problems of the society will be at risk. The common people will be in trouble. And this is unfortunately we are observing. So With this, we come to the end. And again, I am summarizing the whole thing that literature and media has got certain differences, but they share a common platform. They share a common platform. They are made for the society. They are made for the people. They are made for the humanity. And if they are not discharging their duty well, the society is at loss. The common people are at loss. And we must do something. We must have some solution to this problem. Literature and media should come closer, and there must be a good exchange so that good literature come through media and people are enlightened by this. In this digital age, certain luminaries have tried their best to bring literature which was lying in books to the life and the drawing room of the people. This is a very good service to the society. If great literature is digitalized, come through pictures, come through films, come through short movies, or even feature films. It's a great job for the society. So I look forward for more cooperation between the two, and we hope that things will take a turn. And when confusion is there, a new light comes in. I hope for the best. And hopeful note, I put an end to my speech. Thank you.
Ma'am Smita, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I would like certain questions, queries, or suggestions from the audience.
Madhu ma'am, would you like to say something? Anurima, are you there?
Thank you, Vikas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please continue.
Thank you, Dr. Paliwal. This has been a very interesting session. And you also talked about how media can play the role of one of the coping strategies during this time. And literature as well as media, they make a lot of meaning ways by which the essence of good life and at the same time the wisdom that is needed during
Ma'am, you have been muted. Anurima.
Hello.
Ma'am has been muted.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So first of all, I would like to give you thanks because this topic that you have been talking on is a topic that has been on the mind of everyone, I think. So thank you very much for sharing light on this topic. It's a very curious topic and everybody is curious about it. So we have a few questions also for you, which we would like for you to kindly answer. One of our participants, Mohammad Tohidul Islam, has asked that as literature and media are both powerful and influential, so how can we make literature more speedy to reach people? As media reaches very easily and literature takes a little bit more time. So can you give us some tips so that literature can also be like speedily reaching people? Sir, your audio.
Your question is very simple and answer is from me very simple. There
Okay,
should
sir.
be more emphasis on reading. The difficulty is that these days we are having less reading and more typing. So let us have more reading, because if you talk and do not have any sensible talk, there is no meaning. So first of all, you prepare yourself, understand the things, analyze the things, then you come forward to express your views. So for that gentleman, I just say that have more reading habit, try to read more and more different writers, different genres, literature, and try to improve your knowledge. Only then you can come forward with certain analytical faculty.
Very beautifully explained, sir. Thank you. I'd like to take just one more question.
Yeah.
Ayan Ghosh, one of our participants, has asked that how can we make difference between media and literature from the perspective of linguistic usage?
There are certain possibilities, but it's a very wide and different issue. I give you a very simple example that most of us are not aware of the writings of our great masters in Hindi literature. And Dr. Kumar Viswas had done a yeoman service, a wonderful service by bringing Jayasankar Prasad and the poetry of Nirala and Neeraj to the social media platform. Videos are available. His voice is wonderful, and we can enjoy this on YouTube and on Facebook too. And there is a good spread of it these days, so far as the social media is concerned. It is a very good direction that Kumar Viswas has taken, and people should come forward more and more who have the faculty and capacity to contribute to this field. Even in Sanskrit literature, also our great classical Sanskrit poetry verses are coming in digitalized forms, because if someone is able to pronounce Sanskrit verses in a very emphatic way, pleasant way, there is a big market, not only a national market, even the international market is waiting for them. So it may be a very good service, it may be a very good business also, so far as the market forces are concerned.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for answering our queries so beautifully. We have many beautiful questions, but we will be noting them down duly, and the
Yeah,
participants can rest assured that we will be mailing them the responses. So thank you so much, sir. Now I would be reverting back to Smita ma'am for taking over the session.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I hearty welcome you all in the second plenary session with our next distinguished guest speaker, Honorable Professor Chauhan, and I consider it as an honor to introduce Professor Chauhan. Dr. Gajendra Singh Chauhan is an Associate Professor of English and Communication Skills, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, PITS, Pilani. His research interests include applied linguistics, advertising communication, media and culture, and social linguistics. He has conducted training programs on professional communication and HR topics for faculty members, business executives, and engineers of companies' institutes. He has also worked independently on a UGC MRP entitled Writing Competence and Assessment of Tribal Students. I also delivered radio talks on All India Radio on various educational issues. He has published many research articles in reputed journals. He has authored total 3 books on literature and communication. So I humbly invite Professor Paliwal for his lecture. Sorry, Professor Chauhan for his lecture.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And
welcome, sir.
Very good afternoon, one and all present here. Before I start, kindly confirm me that I'm audible to you. Am I clear
Yes,
to you
sir.
all?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your confirmation. And thank you for joining this webinar during this difficult times. We are witnessing one of the worst kind of pandemic that human history ever faced. But our urge to learn and our will to go on, because the life never stays, probably bring us together. And that's why we are here. I appreciate and acknowledge the efforts made by the organizers to provide this interface during all kind of lockdown environment. Still, we are getting connected. We are in a position to listen to each other and feeling blessed to express ourselves. Thank you, organizers, especially Professor Madhu, Professor Chandrasekhar, for getting it connected through this forum. Let me share my screen so that you will have an idea of what I'm going to present in this session. Can you allow me a couple of seconds? Could you see my screen, please? Can you confirm? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So the ideas that are going to deliberate is based on this topic, and the topic that I plan is who moves my news. I use the personal pronoun my news, and when I say my news, it's your news, it's everyone's news, the news that we get from the media. So when we get the news, and it's my news, and this news is being controlled by the media, what intentions they have, what kind of a news they carry, what kind of meanings they offer, how they produce this news, and how do we consume the information that we gather, that we come to know from different medias. So the very idea of my news is meant the news in today's time has a strong connection to the information, and we are living in a digital age, and globally information is the most important currency. Okay, and especially for the youngsters, the young graduates who are passing out from the university, it's very, very important that they should trade it well. When the information is the currency, they should learn, they should try to decode the news in its right speed. So the moot idea that I'm going to deliberate in this presentation is that, do they able to differentiate between the news and the nuisance that we find in the newspapers? Whenever we watch a television news channels, or whenever we read a story in a newspaper or a magazine, do we able to differentiate that it is a real news or a fake story? With this idea, I'm going to take you to another aspect that would probably empower us, enrich us, if we can have the media literacy. Okay, I'm talking, okay, how we can overcome the problem that we find in today's media, okay, where we find the most of the stories comes with a dubious nature, okay, where the editorial boards, media outlets, they hardly pay attention to the stories, and so many media outlets are available to us, and the kind of stories which are coming to us, okay, how it impacts our life. We are bombarded, okay, in a world where we are unable to handle it. And probably the rescue, the respite that we can get in the form of media literacy here. I will be teaching what we mean by the media literacy. How does it help us to be the media literate? That's the basic idea in today's presentations. So do you think the stories that you read in the newspaper are the news that you enjoy on your television channels, the net television channels of your choice? Do they present a real story? Do they present the story that is really correct, authentic, and ethical? Are you sure that you are reading really a real news? Friends, I know most of the participants are from the academic world, and I also come to know that some of them are research scholars. Okay, it's very important for us that I have done a study as a part of my project, and I can tell you that 50% of the media content is sponsored. Okay, that is concocted, it's manipulated, it's developed, it's a plan. Okay, these are not about the natural occurrences. It's not about real accidents that we come across. Okay, so when you think that a story that you find in a newspaper is a real story, I think it's time to think twice. With due apology to the Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, just to make my argument more clear to the audience, I develop a story. Okay, and I'm presenting the story before you in the next slides. Kindly ignore it, okay, because the kind of a content I'm putting might not be acceptable, okay, but that leads me to prove my argument that this is the way the media behaves today. Here is a headline about the university, and headline goes like that: RPSU Raipur in top 20 universities in India. The headline comes with a picture. No, I'm not able to move the slides. People who are in the controls, can they confirm that are they able to see my slides? Are they able to see the pictures? I'm not able to move my slides from my sides.
Sir, please shut down your presentation and start it again. Maybe you may do it.
Should I start again? Should I close my presentation once?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please do it again.
Okay.
Because I'm not controlling it from my side.
Okay, but it seems okay from my side. Let me do it again.
Yeah. Actually, your clipboard is open, it seems.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'm sorry for this interruption. Okay, so this is the story with due apology to the university. I'm putting it here and just to prove an argument that how we find the story in the newspaper and in other media outlets. And the story goes like that: the Raipur University, the present university, has gone in the top 20 universities in the country with a picture, and then comes the content, the very first paragraph that talks about, about how they manage this particular rating. Okay, and the story looks quite believable, quite credible, unless you are a part of a university system, unless you are the insider who are working in this university, you may not come to know what is the reality. Okay, so for the rest of the world, for the commoners, okay, they would come to know this story on its face value, that yes, university has really gone to the top 20 university in the country. It has gone in the league of JNU, BHU, and the rest of the best universities in the country. But actually, this is the story that I developed it, okay, and it's a fake story. Likewise, but people, those who are working for the university, the college student, those who are studying in the university, they might know that, but for the rest of the world, it's very difficult. Do we pay the attention? What is the interest? Media has to write this story, from where they got the information. Okay, why it is important to develop this kind of stories. And likewise, there are many things that we come across in our everyday's life, okay, which are fake in nature. And this is what the media is doing it. They are controlling our news, my news, okay, and we need to be empowered. We need to be more critically enlightened, okay, to see that we understand, we try to decode the news in its right state. So this is what I'm going to present here about the fake news, okay, what we mean by the fake news, and it is available to us in different media, in different colors and the flavors. And actually, it means any incorrect information that has been created intentionally under the guise of a fact. Okay, so this is what I did in the previous slides. Okay, you can take any story, you can take any incident, you can take any person, any celebrity, and write about them. Okay, you might have your own commercial vested interests. Okay, but whatever you paint, the kind of a rosy pictures you develop, or you want to criticize your opponent, okay, and you want to promote your corporates, okay, it could have any interest, okay, but these stories are not the real stories. But the problem that I'm going to highlight is that, do we really know it? Okay, we consume so many stories every day, but we do not know about their originality, about their authentications, about their verifications, about their very origin from where they are coming. Who are the people driving these stories? Okay, and for that we need to have we need to be more media literate. That's the idea I'm going to deliberate here in this presentations. How these headlines, you can see here, I'm throwing some of the headlines and they represent the contradictory views of the journalism or the media industries. Okay, how they write one article and another article write totally against it. Okay, and they are placed together in magazines, newspaper, there are television debate shows about those stories. Okay, and do we really understand it? Okay, can we differentiate it? Okay, as a citizen, as an informed, responsible person, do we know that are they right or wrong? I mean, again, the technical issue is not able to move the slides. So yeah, you can see some of the headlines here. Okay, the one line head says that owning a car may make you more confident, while there are another article in some other magazines will say a stress-free life keeps you healthy and cheerful. That's not owning a car. So it's not. Dieting helps you lose weight, while another say the balanced diet may lead you to weight loss or weight gain. Okay, so dieting, writers, authors, they have their own perspectives when they write. We should be able to know that these are the opinions, these are not the facts. They are based on certain studies, the studies which are controlled, on a particular population, in a particular geography. Okay, and it cannot be universal in nature. So when you say the balanced diet is good for weight loss, it's applicable to the people of certain age, people who are living in a particular vicinity. Okay, while another article comes and it completely refutes it, that dieting may help you gain weight also. Red wine is good for heart, while drinking beer causes you obesity. That could be another reason. Vegetarians have a better memory than the meat eaters, while the non-vegetarians have strong muscles. Women do not like beds. The one article will talk like this, while another article will say that the men prefer women who like beds. And they are so contradictory in nature, and they always come out with the universal ideas. They come out with a stand as if they are the story can be applied anywhere. Okay, and that's not the right perspective. Okay, so this perspective we need to develop. Okay, as educators, as academicians. Okay, it's our job that we need to ignite. We need to prepare our students. Okay, so that they can have this kind of understanding. They can come to know that what a particular headlines talks about. Okay, or what it what are the undercurrents in a particular story. Coffee may cause cancer, while another article will say the coffee may prevent cancer. Okay, and the world looks very, very chaotic in the media. Okay. And likewise, coming to the COVID-19 and the related story, and the entire reporting of COVID-19 is a horrible example how negligent the media could be, okay, in sharing the stories. So the one side, the world is struggling to cope with the virus, the pandemic itself. Another side, there's another big virus, the media has called it infodemic, okay, that caused by the information, the misinformation, or the fake stories. There are so many experts, advisors, the doctors coming every day on the social media networks and talks about, how to deal with the virus, how to take the precautions, what kind of tips would be more helpful to fight against the virus. And I'm sharing some of the examples, okay, that has become the everyday stories on the social media networks. And we Indians, especially the youngest, we keep on forwarding from one place to another, okay, without knowing, okay, the worth of a story, okay. We just forward it from one group to another, and this has become a popular favorite sport for us, okay, how we share the stories. So it was a myth, okay, it was not something very correct. Recently it came, if you use mask for a very long period, it may lead to the oxygen deficiency, okay. One of my intellectual colleague, my own colleague, he forwarded me this post on WhatsApp. See, sir, we should stop using mask, okay, because otherwise, we would be suffocating ourselves. And immediately in the same week when this, and it went on viral on social media networks, and the WHO come out, okay, with a fact, no, if you put it properly, it won't lead to the oxygen deficiency or any kind of a CO2 intoxication. But media does its job, okay. It believes in creating the eyeballs, okay. It spreads something that is very, very captivating without verifying it's a fact, okay. And they just push one story from one network to another network, and the people become a part of it, and the same way the story goes on everywhere. Coming to another story, at the beginning of the outbreak of the virus, somewhere in April and May, this was very popular, a story on the WhatsApp, okay, and many other social media networks. Drinking alcohol will protect you against the COVID-19. Beautiful pictures and truly international brands, okay, and they say that if you are a drinker, you are protected, okay, you bought the immunity in your pocket, okay. But the fact is that it reduces your immunity. It doesn't prevent you from COVID-19. Holding your breath for 10 seconds means you are free from COVID-19. That's not the fact. Doing pranayama, doing exercise is really important for the immunity, but it's not a cure, okay, to fight against the virus. The only remedy, the only thing that can certify that you are fit, that you are not infected, is the lab test and nothing else. Coming to another story relating to the COVID-19, which was again very, very popular on social media network. The cold weather can kill the new coronavirus, okay, but no cold weather, no snow can kill the COVID-19 virus. That's again the WHO come out with in its international press conference that these are the fake stories, okay? And eating garlic prevents COVID-19, but again, that's a false notion. And likewise, there are many more stories, okay, that we come to know about the virus, okay, when that makes our task more tougher to deal with the disease, okay. So one side there is no cure, another side we get the information which are completely malicious and false, okay. And that's the reason probably, when the entire humanity, the entire globe is struggling with this kind of a problem, what kind of a responsibility is there for you as a media professionals? So media has its own business, okay, and it does business. The media is a business, okay, more than we do call it in democracy, that is the strongest pillar of our society, of our nations, of our country. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a business. So now the responsibility, the onus is on us, on we educators, on we academicians, on the policymakers, that we should inculcate the right kind of understanding to know how the media behaves, how the media conduct itself. And this is what we need to prepare our young generations, okay, so that they can make the difference. Tomorrow they are going to be bureaucrats, tomorrow they are going to be the engineers, tomorrow they are going to be the politicians, okay, and they should know that how they deal with the informations. At least they can decode the things in the right speed. There are forms of misinformations that we find in the newspaper, in different, media outlets, let it be the digital media, social media networks, television channels, magazines, newspapers. Fake stories is available in different forms. It is available in the form of a satire. Okay, satire. I can give you one beautiful example. It just comes to my mind. Some writers may write an article why Mr. Kejriwal puts a scarf around his neck. Okay, very often we see him the scarf around his neck. Okay, and it would be a satire, right? In a very humorous way, you can write an article, and people may have more liberal attitude to accept this story. That could be, but again, this information, the news story, is not factual in nature. It's an opinion, and our student, they should know that what is the difference between fact and opinion. Opinion would try to seek your support to a particular perspective, while fact is verifiable things. You can verify anytime. India got freedom in 1947. Any books can certify this. Okay, but it's very difficult to say that the Goa is the best tourist destination. Now, people may have different view. You cannot say these things. Okay, so that's the reason probably we need to talk on this part, that how do we differentiate between news and the nuisance, between truth and falsity. Another form of fake news is the false connection. Okay, sometimes the headline is something else, but the visual do not match it. Okay. And the entire story is something very, very different. Okay. Connection, mostly business magazines and business websites, they do this kind of things. They will have very attractive pictures, beautiful models, okay, and with the beautiful slogans. And the moment you click that, it will take you to another website where they will ask you to register there. They will ask you your banking details and all those things, and to lead you to some money laundering and other kind of scandals. One has to be very, very careful. Okay, it might create problems. Okay. Misleading content. Sometimes is if you watch a television program, a television channel, especially in primetime debates, a politician, a corporate leader, he's coming on a screen and speaking something, but they will show only the partial statement. They will not show the complete statement. And they know that. They stop at a place where just, like, for example, Virat Kohli as a captain of Team India will come and say, no, we lost match because Dhoni has dropped the catch. That is the one statement he made, and that was only shown on the television. The rest of the statement, nobody knows. His complete statement was much different, where he was talking about all the problems that the team had faced during the match, or all the probable reasons that led the team to lose the match. Okay, but that nobody shows. Okay, so sometimes you show the partial statement, partial story, incomplete facts, and this is what we call this is what we see as a form of a fake news, one form of a fake news. Sometimes you make the false context. Okay, you have the genuine content. You have the picture of a prime minister. Okay, he is sitting in the parliament, but you show it somewhere else. Okay, you show something. Rights were the picture of rights which were from some Arabic world, but you saw that this rights happened somewhere in Aligarh. Okay. Ghaziabad. I mean, this is the way you show the morph images. Okay, the artificial videos you show that. Okay, that's another example of a false context. Imposter content. Okay, with the name of BBC, with the name of WHO, with the name of Ayush Ministry, you come out and share many stories. Okay, and that's what we see in the imposter content. Fabricated content. Many times, the organizations, the people, the ideological clubs, they create stories. Okay, they fabricate new content. The conspiracy theory, they call it. Okay, the conspiracy theories there are many conspiracy theories that are going on related to the COVID-19, and the one important controversy on fabricated content story is that COVID-19 is caused by the 5G network. It was very popular in US and in the Europe, and many 5G towers, okay, were devastated by the people when this false rumor started spreading in the community. Another conspiracy theory is that people, and there are takers, okay, who are buying this argument. Okay, so commoners do not know that, okay, what is the fact behind the story, who is driving those stories. So these are some of the forms of misinformation or fake news. And when we have such a chaotic situation, probably we need to be more careful for our generations, for our youngsters, that what kind of education we are imparting them. Okay, are they really in a position to handle the information, this misinformation? You can see some of the pictures and some of the stories. Okay, and they represent the various forms of fake news. This is one I was talking about, this is for the false connection. The moment you click this, you will go to another site. Okay, supermodels apply these 3 simple tricks to look young, and they will draw more traffic to their websites so that they can have heavy advertising revenue. That's the idea. Let's see. These are the 2 pictures of Rahul Gandhi and Smriti Irani, and they have been shown in the media that they are having this kind of a gestures, non-verbal body language in the parliament, but these pictures are not from the parliament hall. They are from different functions. So again, the fake pictures, but they were very popular in the mainstream media. Another conspiracy theory you can see here, the Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, you can see that they are promising amnesty to any illegal that votes Democrat. It's absolutely a false story, but people have their own vested agenda, and they carry forward this kind of news. They circulate in the popular media networks. This is a story for the humorous purpose, a kind of a satire, okay, about a model and his bodily image. And you can see here how the fabricated content is used. The image of one particular ceremony event is superimposed somewhere else, but actually in the real life it is not there. You can see the G20 leaders sitting and conversing each other while Mr. Modi is sitting in the center, but that is not the reality. It was a fake news. Okay. But our youngsters, those who spend their maximum time on social media networks, they have a great data power, okay, and a smartphone, and hardly they have a time to think twice, and they keep forwarding such kind of a pictures, videos, images, posts from one group to another. Coming to the international stories, okay, and again you say that the story was there that Queen Elizabeth II test positive for coronavirus, but then comes the statement, okay, from the royal palace that this is a fake story. Okay, but by the time it has completed a complete circle in the globe. Okay, this story become the part of every network, every group. Okay, that she got tested positive. Another story, it was a video that was shown on the television channels in India and elsewhere, where the lions were shown roaming on the streets in Russia. And this is a job done by the Russian President Vladimir Putin to restrict the people to stay inside so that the coronavirus would not spread. Okay, again, a false story. Okay, but a very powerful story. Okay, and were available on every television channels in India as well. Okay, and nobody was apologetic about it. Okay, why they circulate this story? Okay. There's no ownership for this. This is a picture of a lady, Alicia. She's a research scholar standing in Oxford, and she is the first one who went for the who took who was ready for the human trial of Oxford vaccine. But the moment the vaccine was administered, the next day there was a story that she is dead. Okay, but again, that was a false story. So when we have such a chaotic environment, okay, in media where we are not sure, okay, what we are getting, how we are consuming the informations, who's controlling our stories, okay. In that case, okay, I think it becomes very, very important for us that we should pay due attention to the call of a media literacy. There had been 3 calls in the past in the independent India. When country got independence, our freedom fighters and then leaders, they made a call that country should be literate. And their definition of literacy was that people should be able to read and write their names. Okay, that was the basic literacy they talked about. Okay, and that India achieved long back. And after that, a young prime minister took over the reins of the country. Then Prime Minister Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, who took the country, and he gave another call, and he said that the country should be computer literate. Okay, and that was the right call. And I think the time has come. It's a very important time when our life is so much digitalized. Okay, that we should have media literacy. Okay, and it really matters. Okay, what kind of this literacy would empower the young people and the young generations. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, it's a kind of an ability that would help us to differentiate between, what is right and what is wrong in terms of information in media. So when we are rightly educated, when we are media literate, we can be a good buyer, we can be a critical thinkers, and we can be a responsible citizens of a country or a society. You can see here with the help of a graphics, okay, the entire journey of information, how the information is traveled, right from its very first word somewhere in 15 BC before Christ. The first word was engraved on stone, and till we reached to the time of Twitter age. Now we are in the Twitter age. In between, there was a printing press, an invention made by the Gutenberg that led to the mass publication. And then come the 20th century, we got the most dynamic, versatile innovation in terms of internet. Okay, and internet has really changed our life, the way we think, the way we live. Okay, it has completely revamped. Okay, our system. Okay, and we are living in a so when internet, when this technology has become so much inherent of our life, okay, it's important that we should know how it works. Okay, we need to pay attention to it. Okay, simply allowing the technology to handle us is not a good idea. There's another reason for which I say that media literacy is important in our education system is that India is the biggest media industry in the world. We produce more than 70,000 newspapers and over 700 satellite channels. And out of 700 satellite channels, there are more than 100 news channels. And all these news channels and this information is available 24/7. The information travels so fast and it is available so easily and in such a large proportion. Okay, definitely is going to make a dent in our life. Okay, so are we really we are ready to handle this kind of information overload? And for that, I think we need to be more media literate. I tell you, when we talk about the number of news channels, okay, I remember somewhere in 1982, 1985, we used to have one news channel, okay, and one news bulletin, not channel. It was Doordarshan, okay, and that was more than enough. There was a morning telecast and then there was an evening telecast, and it was a 1 hour bulletin. And the moment we attend that bulletin, we think that we are completely updated about the world. And today, when we get so many news channels, so many magazines, and so many social media networks, and still we feel that we are clueless. Our life is not very sure what is right and what is wrong, what is to be believed and what is not to be believed. Okay, and still we are in the dilemma when we have a choice to make among so many media outlets. There was a study in Stanford that clearly says that our students are not ready to deal such a huge load of information that they handle at every moment. Especially if you see we have the young people in our families also, and most of us are academicians where on an everyday basis we interact with the students also. The young people consume and produce information with an unimaginable ease and comfort. Okay, they have a smartphone with them, they have great data capacity and a wonderful internet connectivity, and I think that makes their life very easy. So there are cinema halls, there are colleges, there are libraries, their playgrounds, everything converted into smartphones. They do not need anything. They do not go anywhere. They just want internet connection. They want data size. They want good mobile phones. And I think their life is done. Okay, they can be confined in four walls and they can have their own life. It is making us more secluded, okay, in that sense. And moreover, despite that, they themselves are not very sure how they are consuming the media content. So right from a library to the lecture hall, from shopping to watching movies, or from dating to job switching, okay, there is a huge dependability on different mobile gadgets and mobile apps, especially for the youngsters. And it leads to another problem when our life is totally controlled, it's totally governed by this digital technology. Okay, and let me be a little crude that we have become puppet in the hands of the technology. Okay, it is driving us. Okay, and we do not know that. Okay, how to use this platform, where to stop. We become nervous when our battery goes down. Okay, we get anxiety. You know, when the connectivity is not proper. Okay? We feel very bad when we do not get the Wi-Fi. So we are living in a time, you know, when we cannot imagine that I can live without my mobile phone, without my internet, without my Wi-Fi. So in that sense, okay, it's really important that let's learn how media really works. You might be very much familiar with the concept of breaking news. It's a very powerful phenomenon on television news channels, and every cheap and ordinary issue is being showcased as breaking news. Okay, while the breaking news tag, okay, is to be given to the issues, to the stories which are very crucial, important in nature, but now every story looks like, you know, like a breaking news, and it never ends. Whenever you open a television channel, you find that the breaking news is on. Okay, so this is not breaking news are something very sudden, dramatic that comes without notice. Okay, but we find that they are created at every moment, and every time you may find it there. So and I will connect, okay, how the big media houses, the top class television channels, they do the blunder even in today's time. Okay, they do not take care how they share the stories. Another example of Mr. Bachchan's story. Okay, we know that he recently tested positive, undergoing treatment. Okay, but there's another story about him that comes recently, and there's a story shared by India's top-notch television channels, Times Now, and it shows as a breaking news. Okay, and the breaking news is that Mr. Bachchan, the second test, he was found negative. Okay, and immediately Mr. Bachchan was surprised. Okay, when he saw this news about him, he was in the hospital. And he saw that how a Times Now can share this kind of a story as a breaking news that he is tested negative while he is undergoing treatment. And immediately Times Now come out with a resinder and a refutes reports are being tested positive. Mr. Bachchan was very, very critical about the news channel, and he said that it is something very irresponsible. It's a fact news. It's something very incorrect. And this kind of practice, media should eschew from this kind of practices. Okay, so even the top media channels, okay, if they behave like this, okay, and they are not sparing the person of such a stature, I don't think what would be the fate of a commoners for the common people, okay, how we are being managed by the media. The few more reasons I feel that is very, very significant for us that we need to know how media operates, because mostly we find the stories which incites emotional hatreds in societies. Okay, I can connect you with some of the stories where many stories were shared on social media networks, especially on the WhatsApp, that led to the mob lynching in India. Okay, and innocent people were killed. In the groups, okay, because nobody comes to know, nobody is there to take the responsibility. Who is sharing those stories, and people kill each other just for nothing. Okay, so it incites kind of emotional hatreds. Media houses, corporate houses, they run, okay, they are in the background in the media houses. They have their own marketing interests. Okay, they want to improve their TRP. If you watch television channels, any television news channel, and especially the prime time debates, you'll be surprised how they do the discussions. Okay, how the anchors, the cherry pick, experts, that they bring them to the show, how they talk about the issues, and that they scream at the top of their voice, okay, and there is no substance in the discussions, okay, and they just want to, you know, manage people, better TRP, more advertising revenue, and nothing else. We also can see that there are many unclaimed and immature videos on YouTube and social media networks that we need to understand. Okay, many remedies are available, many tips are there, many suggestions are there. Or you do this, you do that, okay, and there is no authentication who will go and verify them whether they are right or wrong. Okay? They will talk about so many treatments, they will talk about so many suggestions, they will teach you in a different ways, okay? And everyone seems to be an expert and professional, okay, and then we need to take a call whether it's right or wrong. There's the nexus between the owners of print and electronic media, that also we need to know that how they are in collusion with the political parties, okay, and manage the entire media business. And more sensational and doctored content is available across the TV news channels, offer the information in a marketable way. Okay, so at the end of the day, I think we should not forget that the media, although we consider it as the important pillar of our democracy, but it is a business. Okay, so it plays its cards very well. So we should also know that, okay, how we understand the way they function and finally safeguard ourselves. It's not possible to talk about, okay, what should be the model for a media literacy. It's altogether, it could be altogether a different presentations where we can talk about, you know, what kind of a media literacy we can impart to the young learners. Okay, but there are a few things, a few tips I would like to share, okay, that might help the young peoples, okay, when they consume the story. Okay, because we are living in a time where everyone is a journalist. Everyone can develop its own content. You go to the WhatsApp, you go to the Facebook, okay, you can react to any story, you can write any story your own, and you are free to yourself. Okay. So in this world, okay, when everyone can conduct himself or herself as a journalist, okay, this kind of critical thinking is very, very necessary. So whenever we come across a story that we feel is really outrageous, we should not believe it. We should try to see its sources. The story that you feel that is really outrageous, somewhere you believe it, it means it appeals to your ideology. You are from the right wing, you are from the left wing, and it suits you. Okay, so in both the cases, okay, if a story that you want to reject, why you want to reject, the story that you want to believe, why you are believing this story, so you should have your own reasons. Okay, does it entertain or raise awareness? Is it mean for the fun, just to create entertainment, or it just give you some additional information? You should be able to ask this question. Does it come from the respected sources? Okay, how many people were contacted? How many interviews were done? Okay, what kind of studies have been done to develop the story? What kind of a homework the writer has done? Okay, any story that they write, okay, it should not be a piece of fiction. Is it a current story, or it is a video somewhere of 1982 or 1994 or 2004? Okay, that has been shown once again. Okay, the riots that happened somewhere else, and they show you now that it happened recently in this part of the country. So let's be careful. Go to the Google. Google has a wonderful feature introduced a few years back, is about reverse search image. Any image that you find is dubious, controversial, you can take that image, upload it on the Google, and the Google will let you know the story, from where it is originated, when it started, it is from which place, okay, what is the context of a story, everything they would share with you. Okay, so I think that kind of a effort one should do that before just believing and forwarding it to the next group. Okay, it might be damaging to our friends, to our relatives, to our own family members. Okay, and does the headline match the article? You just true that many a time they write very attractive headlines, but it doesn't have any connection to the rest of the stories. Okay, so that also we need to see that, okay, how they write the stories. For example, a story and a headline like, you know, Jama Masjid Imam supported BJP in Delhi election. That was the headline. Okay, many people read that story. Okay, but if you see the context, it was something outrightly different was presented there. Okay, so they just want to bring more traffic to the website. Okay, so you read the attractive articles, and finally when you read it, you find nothing is there. Okay, so they have their own interests. Okay, and that's why they read, they prepare and create this kind of a content. Is it well made? It is rightly researched. Okay, writer has developed the perspective, the argument in a proper way? Have they shown the both the sides? When you write a story, you talk about the merits and demerits, the positives and negatives, and it should be the balanced ones. Okay, so that also we need to see ourselves. Are quotes in context? People who are talking, there are many references are made about the organizations. Okay, are they really shown in the right perspectives? They are in the context. Okay. Recently, Neeta Ambani, the wife of Mukesh Ambani, okay, she was shown in a picture with a statement, and the statement was that if the vaccine comes out in India, she would be providing free to everyone. I mean, I don't think what is the first in this story. Okay, who created the story? And likewise, there are many stories, and we'll love forwarding it. See how such a great job this lady is doing. Why should not she be given the Bharat Ratna? Okay, I mean, we are so much, information crazy nation, right? And who is the news source anyway? From where it is coming? Do we ever ask? Okay, do we ever doubt? Do we have the critical insight? Okay, which is very, very important. Okay, and did the writer engage with anyone who disagree? Do you write something okay about the people who is not ready to buy your argument? You are a right wing. You are only talking about in the one aspect of the story. You are not bothered about the other side. Okay, how it is going to impact other part of the community? Okay, so a holistic journalism or a right kind of a story that is ethical in nature, okay, takes care of everything. But if that is not happening, if my news is not of that nature, at least I should know how to read it. Can I read between the lines? That's more important in today's time. Okay, and how to read between the lines, and for that I think we should make a call for the media literacy and media literacy, and that's wonderfully managed by the American school education. They are doing it for the school children, from K-12 education curriculum. They made it compulsory. Canada is doing very well. Many European countries are doing it well. I think it's time for a new Indian education policy where we can pitch this idea that India should be media literate. Okay, apart from the computer literacy and other literacy, it's time that we are ignited. We can dictate our own stories. With this in mind, I'm probably leaving this presentation with an idea. Okay, and, there are many more things that we can keep talking on these things, but let's be hungry for the stories. Okay, that can make our day, rather than reading the story, how Temu's birthday is being celebrated, and who is Salman's new girlfriend, and when Salman is getting married. Okay, and those, and I don't know from where you are getting this story. And when the media outlet is available 24/7, how you will get the story? You will have this many stories only. And this is the way you will manage it. Okay. So with this, I hope I'm in time, and I would like to stop here. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. And I'm very happy if we can have a couple of observations, questions on any one of these issues. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your profound thoughts and knowledge with all of us.
It's my pleasure, ma'am. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, this was really an enlightening session with full of zeal and valuable information for all of us. Thank you very much, sir. And now I am giving the mic to Anurima for the next queries and doubts session.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Now the mic turns over to Anurima.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to personally tell you that if everybody was able to explain this issue of fake news so beautifully as you, we would have tackled this issue quite easily.
Thank you so much.
It's becoming it's spreading more than the virus, I think, the fake news. So
I think my job is done when a young person like you, okay, could understand these things. Okay, it's especially mean for the youngsters, okay, those who spend their maximum time. Your critical time is spent on, mobile phones. Okay, you are busy with the media all the time, and if you have this kind of understanding, I think my message is communicated. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And this was the need of the hour, actually, your presentation. So thank you very much for it. We would just have a few questions. We have beautiful questions from our participants. So I would like to ask a few of them. One of our participants, P. Gopi Krishna, has asked that, is there any authority to censor or scrutinize the news channels?
Thank you for asking this question. I mean, it's a very relevant question that you ask. Yeah, there are agencies. Okay, there are agencies, but like every time a movie comes, okay, for public appearance, okay, when a movie gets released in cinema halls, it goes to the censor board. Similarly, for television channels, when the news is already telecast, you can go and report about its content, about its very representation. There is a body is there, Press Council of India is there, okay, that works for it, okay. That has a complete regulations, okay, how the news can be delivered, what should be the code of conduct for the media houses, okay. So you can report it, but the problem is that the news is already delivered, okay. So, but if you find something wrong, something offensive, probably you can go and report to that, and they may probably take the actions for that. Okay, so there are agencies, okay, but still I think that we need to have a very robust mechanism where people, especially the media houses, they themselves should be the accountable for this.
Indeed, sir. Thank you
I
so
hope
much for it.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, this was on part of the media. Now, another question is from one of the participants, Isha Banerjee. She asks that as viewers, how can we avoid being the agents of fake news propagation?
Isha ma'am, thank you for this beautiful question. Okay, and that was, I think, most important perspective that I want to share here. It's not possible to talk about media literacy in just 40-50 minutes. Okay, so I just developed the idea. I just want to prepare my audience that yeah, it's important thing. Okay, and we need to pay attention to it. Okay, and what is media literacy? I mean, we need to be literate in a different way. Okay, you might be engineer, so you can manage machines very well. I understand. You are a driver, you can drive the car very well. Okay, but you are not someone who can handle the information. And information, as I said, that it is the biggest currency that we all can have in our pocket. Okay, it is enriching us. If I have a right kind of information, probably I will be more relevant in the society today. Okay, so how to know that? I mean, it's uh, for that I say that we need to pitch this idea for secondary educations, for higher educations, where media education could be the part of our curriculum. Okay. In general, I shared a few tips in the last slides. Okay, that is for the layman. Okay, but absolutely we should standardize things. We should make it as a part of our education systems where we can teach people, how really media works, how the stories are developed. Okay, how they gather the informations, why they are writing particular stories, what we mean by the ideological clubs, what we mean by the perspectives, how the opinion is different from the facts. So there is a complete education model, okay, that is there, and I hope the policymakers in the times to come, it would be the part of our secondary education and the higher education. Okay? But I don't think there's a magical event that we can move and say that, okay, I'm a media literate like this. Okay, but be open, be critical. Whenever you read a story, try to see the sources, try to see the people's names were used. Okay, very often they use the popular names, very often they use the big names, very often they use the credible sources, but actually the same story you can go and find on other networks, and you will find that it is not available. Probably you can say that it's a fake. Okay. It's just a story in isolations. I hope I'm able to make it clear to you.
Yes, sir. I hope everybody got your point. And we have many other questions which we will like to write down and we'll get
Arunima,
them. Yes, sir.
uh, I have one query. If I would like to take just 2 minutes in this conference,
Please, sir.
if Dr. Gajendra permits and if the board and convener permits.
Go ahead, sir. You're welcome.
Okay. Dr. Gajendra, it has been very pleasing to, always it has been pleasing to listen to you and your views. And particularly today, I was really mesmerized. I would like to keep this treasure, the recorded video with me for a very long time. And whenever I am sad, I will be looking into this, whenever I'm concerned with the media. Am I audible now?
Of course,
Okay,
you're
okay.
very clear. You're very clear.
One thing that I would like to say is that what has concocted the news today is that the editor is replaced by the CEO. Every media house
Absolutely,
has a CEO
absolutely.
who has
Professor,
been taught, who has been brainwashed for getting economic benefits rather than creating information. So
uh,
the earlier it was a time when the newspapers and channels had a malik whose concern was that the reputation is important. But now we have CEOs who are MBAs who run on target rather than other things. That is the first thing. I think this is creating a challenging picture before the society. The second
Professor
point.
Chandrasekhar, you may continue, please.
And the second thing is that we as people have become hungry of visuals and spicy words. Like when I watch a particular channel, you will not believe that the anchor is continuously using the word Chalba, Chin, and Chamgadar Xi Jinping past 1 month.
Yeah.
Now, this has been, had this been a language of my class when I was a student of a school, I think my teacher would have made me a clown in the class.
True,
I would
very
have
true.
been badly beaten because we were not allowed to add adjectives like this. We were taught to use adjectives, but not like this. This
Very
is the
true,
second
very
point.
true.
And the third thing, that we should all take it positively, that media has played a very, very, very vital role in creating awareness. The
True.
entire epidemic,
Hmm.
in this episode of epidemic, if one thing that has created awareness, especially in a very large country like India, which is densely populated, is media. Through the information, we really curse media that every day they are serving us with the number of people died, the number of people recovered, and the increasing number of people affected. But the truth is that these numbers have really brainwashed our mind to wear a mask and to maintain social distance. It's not only the government, the media has really played so there are positives as well as negatives. Now, there was a question related to censoring of the news, but censoring of the news is really, really a very legal concern, because the constitution grants right to expression. And secondly, the news is not like our movies. News has to be aired quickly. So the censoring agency cannot work with that much efficacy. That was all. It was just to add it to your speech. That is also from my side. Please continue, sir.
Professor Chandrasekhar, thank you so much for your insightful observations. You really nailed my presentations. Okay, the very bottom line that I wanted to highlight here. Okay, that these days the editorial board is being replaced by the CEOs and his managers. And that's the reason what is more important is the business rather than an ethical journalism, right? Second thing that you said, that we people are now content hungry. Okay, we enjoy watching visuals, videos. Absolutely right. Okay, and we hardly pay attention to the content. Okay? That's another thing, and where I say that probably media literacy would help us. And third thing is that that nobody can deny that media is the strongest force. Okay, that we say that it has created a lot of awareness. It does its job. Okay, but it is also a job of we citizens. Okay, to check how it works with the times, how it moves with the times. So now we have the biggest media industry in the world. Okay, when it has become the part and parcel of our life, I think we need to have some kind of a governance. We should have some kind of a system where it should be a win-win situation for the citizen as well as for the media industries. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comments. Okay, and that's truly strengthened the argument that I made in my presentations. Yeah. Any more questions, please?
Thank you so much, sir, for your questions. And we are very grateful to you for answering all our doubts and queries. Now I would like to revert back to Smita ma'am for taking over the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anurima. Thank you so much. So before
Ma'am, I think that her video has stopped. She has some kind of a network problem. Would you like to continue? Madhu ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I can. I would like to be a filler because Smita doesn't seem to respond. And I take the opportunity of inviting our next speaker of this session, Dr. Deepa Chandran Ram from Deccan University, Australia. And
Excuse me, ma'am. Smita here.
Smita,
Ma'am,
please continue.
may I
Yes,
continue,
please,
ma'am?
please,
If you
please, dear. Please take up.
allow. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, before start our third plenary session, I would like to uh, extend my warm welcome to Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, who has been with us in our previous session. And sir, thank you for being with us throughout the session. So taking forward to the program with the third plenary session, and we feel proud and privileged to have Dr. Deepa Chandran Ram with us in this session. And it would be my great honor to introduce Madam Deepa. Dr. Deepa Chandran Ram is an Indian Australian poet, writer, painter, lecturer, and scientist. She owns a Bachelor in Science and Education, Masters in Chemistry, Masters in Philosophy, and PhD in Chemistry. She currently works for Deakin College, Deakin University, Victoria, Australia. She lectures and coordinates chemistry units, also actively engaged in science education research. Poetry, music, and painting was in her veins right from childhood, although she pursued science as her profession. She was selected as one among the 5 best poets of 2016 by World Union of Poets, represented Australia in World Poetry Yearbook 2015, and has innumerable publication of poems in many global anthologies, including the World Peace Anthology, Galactica Poetic Ethics, the Garden of Poetry and Prose Anthology, and many more. She is also a member of the World Writers Union. Her poems were recited in many radio podcasts, and her own publication of her anthology, The Inner Quiet, secured a position to be displayed at Los Angeles Times Festival of Books 2019. Her book also secured the prestigious award of Icon of Peace by the World Institute of Peace, Nigeria, and Master of Metaphor at the International Poetry Conference, Bhatinda 2019. Her second book of visual poetry and paintings, uh, Decent Hues, is under publication. So I kindly invite you, madam, for your lecture.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, ma'am, you are audible,
Yes,
please.
Oh, good, thank you. Because I don't have my headphones today, so I'm just speaking directly to my computer or to my laptop.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect, ma'am.
Oh, good, oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this program. And thank you, Dr. Madhu Kamra and Dr. Chandrasekhar, who have spoken to me regarding this sessions, the webinar. And I'm sorry that I had missed yesterday's. I would have loved to come in, but since I'm working full time in the university, it goes from up till 6 o'clock here. So right now it is 6:11 p.m. At Melbourne, and I'm talking to you from Melbourne. It's gone dark here. All right, so I was listening to the last session and I found it really, really interesting because I've left India many, many years before, and it's almost like 15 years, 16 years now. But I catch up with all the news that's happening in India, and I'm very actively involved, although I'm not supposed to be voting for in anywhere in India because I'm not an Indian citizen anymore, but still I watch the politics, I follow the politics that's happening in India and all the media all those things is happening up there. And well, even I was looking into Dr. Chauhan's session that was happening just before, and well, it's such a big thing that's happening in India regarding these media. Well, there's absolutely no privacy for anyone, especially in India. That's what I would say. But here, people cry about privacy, and people are being assured that everything is under privacy and everything is private and all that. But still, we don't know the data is with someone else. So we know that it's not privacy anymore. But still, at least the government gives us the assurance that privacy is retained and in safe hands. That's what they say. Privacy is retained in safe hands. We don't know how safe the hands are, but still we believe them and we say that, yes, it's been retained in safe hands so that we can sleep coolly in the night. But in India, I find that the media would enter into anything. So I hope you can hear me. Is there any issue? Is there
Hello,
any?
ma'am, we can hear you. Yes, Deepa, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Maybe it's a little lag or something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway, so it's all about the privacy issues and, you know, how media gets into our everyday life, into the privacy of every single person, and how they exaggerate the news and the fake news and everything. So we call the WhatsApp university, where you get all the trolls and the fake news and things like that. So as a researcher, what I do is I look at the language that's being projected in such fake news, and, you know, the language can tell you much about whether it's coming from an authentic source or not. So that's one way I look at it, and I if I want to believe that particular news, I'll just see whether it's coming from a very authentic source or not. Anyway, so we were talking about fakeness in the previous session. So again, I'm coming to something like that, more of cheating and fakeness and everything. So I think today's session is all about integrity, integrity, and integrity. So I think this is kind of an underlayered a personal element in our, or you call a trait in our personality. Something like that. So it's integrity. When you talk about, I'm going to talk about academic integrity, but when I talk about academic integrity, it's reflected everywhere. So social integrity or personal integrity is academic integrity too. So integrity should be a personal trait that we should build in ourselves, so that, you know, we are responsible for what we are saying, what we are writing, and what we are projecting to the world in all walks of life. So that's what I feel like. Anyway, my today's topic is about academic integrity. Now, why I selected this is Dr. Madhu was asking me, like, Deepa, can you talk something about your experience in university education in Australia? And can you share something with our teachers and our students and our professors in here? And I was saying, well, I'm a science person, so I'm basically not from the faculty of English. I'm a science person, and I've done my research with the Indian Space Research Organization. I did my PhD there with the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. And then I came to Australia. I couldn't find any much rocket research happening here. And I entered into the carbon nanofiber research. So that's where I did around 5 years of research in carbon nanofibers with Deakin University. And my basic interest was always in education, because right from the age of probably 22, I think, and now I'm 46. So right from that age, I have been teaching and teaching and teaching, even though I was doing research on the side. So always I loved teaching, because, you know, that's where you can bring up that science curiosity, that scientific temper. And what I find is that India has to go a long way in building up the scientific temper in children, in the younger generation, so that I think a lot of issues which India is facing at the moment can be overcome if the generation is more scientific. So it's how I feel. Anyway, why I'm here is because Dr. Madhu asked me to do a session, and I didn't know where I have to start from, what I have to do, because I'm a science person, not an English person. But then I thought maybe I'll talk about academic integrity. The reason I took this is because we've got students coming from overseas. So if I take, well, my class, I've got around 50 students in my class or 200 students in my class. Half the students are from the local community, which are Australians, and half of them from the different parts of the world. So I have students coming from India, from Sri Lanka, from China, from Korea, from the different parts of Europe, and also from different parts of Africa. So the North Africa, South Africa. So we get students from Canada, from US, it's very rare, but we get students from all over the world, and each student comes here with a different culture. So we give an orientation right at the beginning when we start with the classes. And orientation is like different for different countries. So when I deal with the students, so usually I'm given the chance to do for the Indian students and the Sri Lankan students, because I know more of the Indian culture, and I can say something to those students about what the Australian education is all about, or how you have to be a good student in here. And the main issue we have with the Indian students coming over is the academic integrity part. So I'm also educated in India, so I know how the education goes about in there. We are good in many things, and we also have got the bad side of it too. So when you look at the subject content and how depth we go into the subject, India is much, much, much better than other countries, I would say proudly, because all my education in India is what I'm using for my teaching in here. But there is some other side for it, like when it comes to the integrity part, we lack a lot. I don't know why that happens. We are bright and intelligent, and at the same time, we go for fakeness. I don't know why it happens. We've got that double-sided kind of a face. We don't have to do it because we've got so much of intelligence and so much of, we know in depth the subject, and we know how to handle that subject really well. But then I don't understand why we need to have that fakeness underlying all these things. So, yeah, of course, yes, I'm also looking at the chat in here, because I'm always in Zoom session morning till evening. We do the university classes completely through Zoom sessions because of the lockdown in here. So I look at the chat, what students are saying, and I do respond to the chat also when in between. So likewise, I'm also looking at the chat in here. All good. So, so what I want to talk about today is about the academic integrity part, which the Indian students usually lack when compared to the other parts of the world, or the other overseas students, or the Australian students. So maybe I would share a small presentation with you. I don't have a big thing to put in front of you, just a small a module of what academic integrity is all about, and how teaching and learning can support academic integrity. Oh, good. So I'll take the opportunity to share the slide, to share my slide in here. Okay, I'm going to share.
Yes, ma'am. You may share it. Are you able to share it, ma'am?
Let me see.
There may be a green button.
Yeah, I know that. No, I'm. It's asking for desktop. Okay. don't. Just give me a second. Somehow it's not allowing me to share it.
Do you have it open on your desktop, ma'am?
Yes, I have it open on my desktop. That's what I'm trying to share.
Yeah.
It's not, when I go to the desktop, it's not allowing me to share it.
No, actually, you are the co-host now, so it will be very easy for you to share. There is no permission needed from my part.
Okay. Why is it not allowing me to share? It's giving me a question mark as not allowing me to share it.
Would you be able to send it through mail, ma'am? I'll do it from here.
But still, I should be able to control it, isn't it?
Yeah. You may just command me.
Okay.
And I will just move the slides, if you please. You may send it to webinar.prsu@gmail.com.
Just give me a second.
Hello. Hello.
Yep.
Madam, good afternoon. This is Dr. Chandrasekhar speaking.
Yeah.
Madam, I think you have disabled your remote control panel from Zoom. So what you have to do is that go to the main window of Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, there will be two windows. One is control and another one is main window. So in the main window on the top rightmost top corner, you'll be finding a button settings.
The main window.
Oh. On your taskbar, you can click on the zoom icon, or just hang your this cursor over the this zoom icon. You will be finding the main menu. Isn't there?
That's not showing me anything.
Okay. Alternate ways that you can just mail us.
I have mailed you.
Okay.
But should be able to. Oh. Is it something to do with cross country or something like that? Because
Yes. It is related to cross control. So you have to enable the controls. In the settings, you have to go to screen share. When you click settings on the leftmost side, there will be a panel of controls. Click over the share screen control.
I'll come in again and see.
Okay, you can. And enable the remote control of all applications. When you click over that, then only you will be allowed.
Mounting settings in here. So maybe I leave and then I come in again. Can you allow me to share?
Yeah, ma'am. Now you may share.
Still is coming back to that.
Please send it to me. I'll just do it in a minute or
I've
so.
already sent it to your email.
Which mail did you send, ma'am?
It's saying open system preferences to grant access. I don't know what that is.
Have you sent it to the email webinar.prsu@gmail.com, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
Actually, I can't find it.
No. That's been sent to Dr. Madhu Kamra.
Oh. Madhu ma'am, can you please resend it to webinar.prsu? Or you may
Sending you immediately.
Okay.
Why is that I'm not able to share? Just make me.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. No problem. You may continue to talk about your topic, and whenever it is enabled, then I'll just start the PPT. Please
Right.
continue with the topic. I do have your PPT, ma'am. Is it visible to you?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Please.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. So I'll be talking about the academic integrity. So what is academic integrity? So you are demonstrating that integrity in your teaching and in your learning in a honest and fair way and in a really ethical manner so that, you show respect to others' hard work. So it's all about acknowledging others' hard work and showing our own honesty and fairness in all the assignments and assessments that we go through in our education. So it's all about submitting your own work, sit your own test. When I say sit your own test, it means that you not be copying from others. So you're doing the test on your own or doing examinations on your own. So even if it's an online examination, you have that integrity embedded in your brain so that you know that you have to be fair and honest to whatever you're doing. So acknowledging other people's work is more important. So that's why we have got the referencing and things like that. So other people have done the hard work for you. And if you Google, you can get answers to everything in there. So all informations are at your fingertips, but it's just that you need to acknowledge them. You cannot take that information and say that it's your information or it's your work or it's your piece of information to others. All right, so acknowledging about others. Carefully follow the instructions of all assessment tasks. So whenever you go through an assignment or an assessment, there would be a rubric or a marking guide for it. So go through that carefully so that you understand where you have to find the information, and it makes it all easy for you to put them all together so that you don't have to be faking what you're doing. And then provide accurate and truthful documentation to the university. So if you want to have an extension of your assignment, or if you want to be absent for a particular class or something like that, be truthful in your documentation to the university or to your teacher, that you are presenting the right medical certificate, which is basically not a faked one. And also encouraging other students to act with academic integrity. So from where you can get help from, but then you don't tell you're not going to take that help from others, and you're not going to tell anyone that you can avail help from here. So you are encouraging everyone to do their own work. At the same time, you are doing your own work. So that is the basic idea of academic integrity. And so the responsibilities that the students have while going through any course in the university is to acknowledge other works. So how do you do it? Proper referencing. So here comes plagiarism. When you're using others' work, even the ideas. So when you're preparing an assignment, you will be going through 101 articles at the same time, and you will be taking ideas from each of these articles and putting them all together in your particular assignment or wherever. So you're taking ideas from others. So when you take ideas, it's not really bad that you take ideas from others, because all these ideas existed, and we are using those ideas to improvise on that or detail on that. It's not a bad idea, but then you have to acknowledge what they have done. So referencing, and if you're taking any kind of materials, research findings, articles, journals, which you're looking into, properly acknowledge what they have done. And then some of the images, if you're taking directly that image and copy pasting in your assignment or thesis or whatever, you've got the copyright issues, which you need to look into. Every photo on the internet has got copyright, and people are aware of it. So no one will post any photos in there without having the copyright. So therefore, you need to have permission from that particular organization or a person who has got copyright done. So that the copyright is another thing. There's entirely a different division of this academic integrity, which we can talk about for an hour. So I'm not going into the details of any of these, but I'm just letting you know that there are things like this which you need to take care of while preparing an assignment or an assessment, or doing anything related to academics. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so plagiarism. How do we find plagiarism? So this is for the teachers to know. I know that everyone uses Turnitin now, but so can you just enlighten me about whether you use Turnitin in your universities or not? Or are you aware of this Turnitin
We
thing?
do use it, ma'am. We do use it, but then it
Okay.
is done at the official basis. Yes.
Okay. So official basis in the sense it's not done by individual teachers. Is that what it means?
It is done by the research committee, the library part of it, who conducts the plagiarism test, and then finally a report is given on thesis, which are to be otherwise sent for valuation. So the validation, it's a process of validation.
Yeah, we do use the Urkund software there.
Sorry?
Urkund software.
Okay, so you use another. Oh, good. Yeah. So what we do is we use Turnitin in all our assignments and assessments and everything. So not just for the PhD thesis, but every single assignment that we do, we use the Turnitin. So the students are not supposed to send us through email any of their assignments, completed assignments. Everything goes to the portal or to the Moodle, where they have got that link where they can submit all their assignments or assessments. And it runs through all the links in the portal or the Moodle will run through this Turnitin process. So the Turnitin will identify everything that's there in the assignment. So this is even done in the grassroots level. So even the schools use it, and every single college and university uses it. So every single piece of assignment that comes to a teacher is run through the Turnitin, and the Turnitin will see how much of that has been plagiarized, and it gives you an idea, like if it's about 20% or 30%, the student is awarded 0 marks for that whole assignment. So if it comes to a PhD thesis, then the 5 years of work is not kind of validated. So plagiarism is being usually found out using a software called Turnitin. So even the teachers who are marking it, even if it's not going through Turnitin, I think this, if the teachers have gone through many research journals and articles and everything, they will be able to find out whether it's been plagiarized or not. Okay, so again, loose referencing is also plagiarism. So you have to be very apt in how you do the referencing. So you can't just say just particular site or website or something like that. You have to say which journal, and everyone knows, how do you do the referencing. But this referencing, what we talk about is, I know that, when I learned in India, I came to know about this plagiarism and referencing when I was doing the PhD. So it's only at the PhD level that I have come across that. Here we do it on daily basis. So everything is being done, and every teacher has got access to this Turnitin software. So we can run our assignments through the Turnitin and work out. Sometimes what I do is, even if I write poetry on my own, I'll run it through the Turnitin and see how much of it is being, how much of plagiarism is it showing. Like, I know if you're using some words, some phrases as what is there before, it comes in Turnitin. So 20% to 30% plagiarism is allowed through Turnitin, because that happens with every article. Even if you do it on your own, it happens. But otherwise, if it's more than 50%, then definitely 0 marks for that student. So that's about the plagiarism and things. Can we go to the next slide? Now, this is a plagiarism spectrum. So if you look at, on the left-hand side, you say the poor practice, and the right-hand side is deliberate ones, okay? So what's poor practice? Some students don't know how to avoid the plagiarism issues by paraphrasing, as most of us do, okay? So paraphrasing is like, you can take from the middle of a sentence, or you can change the active voice to passive voice, something like that, and you can paraphrase the whole thing, and you can make it into a new one, all right? But Turnitin do catch it, but Turnitin will be considering that as a low plagiarism issue, okay? And then referencing incorrectly, because the student is not aware that we have to acknowledge others' work. Copying from other sources without a citation, again, it's a poor knowledge of the student that they are not supposed to take work others have done and not citing the importance of it. But reusing work or having done for an earlier assignment is self-plagiarism. So probably the student must have done that particular course before, and he's repeating that course again. Maybe if he failed once and he's repeating it again. So he's reusing the work which he has done before in the previous year, and he's using that again in this year, some of the assignments. And that is self-plagiarism, which is also plagiarism. It's considered as plagiarism, because when you work through Turnitin, then the Turnitin will find out whether that student submitted that assignment any time before in 5 years before, including that 5 years. So working with other students to complete an individual task is something what everyone does. And here, even in schools, they're not permitted to take their parents' help for anything. So if the parent help with any of the assignments or anything, the next day we'll get a note from the teacher saying that please do not help your child with the assignments being given, because that's a child's responsibility to do it. And if you're helping it, you're actually spoiling the child's future. So they're very clear about it, about helping, others helping. So we take help from friends, we take help from elders, we take help from relatives who know about the subject. We also take help from other teachers, tutoring help, and all that. So everything comes under this plagiarism spectrum. And now serious issues come up when you are buying and stealing work from others, borrowing others' work, paying someone to do your work, which is contract cheating and all that. So all this will come under the broad spectrum of plagiarism. So can we move on to next slide? So we have got accidental plagiarism, which is poor knowledge of the student as to what plagiarism is, how to paraphrase, not knowing how to paraphrase, or not knowing that we need to acknowledge others' work. And some of them are deliberate in the sense they do it because they want to score high marks, or they're too lazy to spend time on doing their assignment. So they have got money so they can purchase and do the work. So that's deliberate plagiarism. All right, move on to the next one. Thank you. Contract cheating. This is the most dangerous of all the plagiarism situations. Well, the Turnitin is right now is not able to find contract cheating. It's a little tricky, even for the lecturers, the teachers, or the professors to find contract cheating. You can find it out only if you know the student really well, because some students, when they submit an assignment, which is so excellent, and we know that how the student is in the classroom. So you know the standard of the student, and you know that the student cannot submit something so excellent or brilliant like this. So that's where the doubt comes up. And then you can investigate more on that. They can have a meeting with the student and ask some questions so that, finally the student will admit that it was contract cheating. So that's the only way we can find a contract cheating at the moment, but the new Turnitin is coming up later this year, or I think in the beginning of the next year, where we will be having contract cheating included in the Turnitin software. So it makes it easy for us to find contract cheating. So what's contract cheating? It's paying someone and getting the work done. And it's very unfortunate to say that there are many agencies in India, and most of them are, it's a very sad fact to say that most of these agencies are brilliant students, brilliant pass outs from IIT and IASC and JNUs and places like that. And they are having agencies where they will do work for others. You can find such advertisements up in the Google if you search, where people do pay and do work for others. It's very hard to find out whether if something is being contract cheated. So the students from all over the world have got connections with these contract cheating agencies. And in our university, again, whenever we come across contract cheating, they find that finally tracing back, investigating more on it, finally it ends up somewhere in India or China or Sri Lanka. So all these agencies are being located in these areas, and the students pay and get their work done, and they do work for all around the globe. So you can understand how brilliant Indian mind is. They know how to handle anything, any assessments, even from a different country. So to avoid contract cheating, what we usually do is when we give assignments which have got local interest. Like, for example, if you're talking about the ecology of a pond. So what we do is we give an assignment saying that we've got a river in this particular state in Victoria. So we are talking about Victoria. Well, in Melbourne, in the North Melbourne, we've got a river there or a pond there. So we need to analyze. So we give an assignment regarding the ecosystem that's happening in that particular pond or river, so that the contract cheaters will not have much information about the river or the pond, because it's a very local thing to do. And therefore they cannot do these assessments for them. So this is one way of we dealing with contract cheating, but then this is a very severe issue that happens in academics all over the world. That's what I've seen. So contract cheating is kind of strictly forbidden. You're not supposed to be doing contract cheating at all, because whatever you present is your own work. So think about contract cheating in PhD. It's very sad, isn't it? Because why you're doing the PhD in the first place? It's because they've got something new to say to the world. That's why you're doing a PhD. Whatever you do is a new thing to the world, new information to the world. And there again, when you're doing contract cheating, so what's happening there? So someone else is having your work. So you're giving your idea to someone else to prepare that for you. So now two people know about it. So otherwise, it's just your thing, and now someone else is also having a hand on it. So that's sad that contract cheating is taking place in all the universities around the world. There's no way you can tackle it, but still it's happening. So we have got experts in the university here in Deakin University who can find out how contract cheating, who do the contract cheating. So they know about all the agencies in the world who do contract cheating. And one look at that file, they can say which agency did that contract cheating. So even the agencies are very tricky about it. They know that the universities around the world do it, and most of their customers are overseas students. So what they do is they keep changing the staff. So they get a new person coming in. So that person's presentation will be entirely different from the previous person's presentation. So, they also know, it's just like the virus getting mutated. So we know how to do it. All right. So you undergo mutation with all the new ideas coming up, and then you know how to tackle it, contract cheating. Anyway, can we go to the next slide, please? Oh, good. So these are some of the advertisements you find in Google about the contract cheating agency. So you can say that's easy to do, why you have to do it for yourself. These are kind of the advertisements they give up there. So life is hard enough already. College doesn't have to be 24/7. Plagiarism, free, easy help. See how the advertisements have been put, and the students get tempted to go for all these things because, well, they want to enjoy life, and there's someone else who can do it for them when they just have to pay it, right? So these are some advertisements you find. You can find a number of them on Google. All right, so the next slide, please. Now, the only way you can find contract cheating is when it runs through Turnitin, you find that it's less than 20%. So I told you about my personal experience. A poetry which I've done on my own, if I run through Turnitin, it still shows some 10 to 15% of that, what do you call, a 10 to 15% of plagiarism. So when you're running a contract cheating assignment through the Turnitin, well, it runs through the Turnitin for sure. And the Turnitin won't be able to pick up anything from there. If it's too low, it means that there is something that you need to doubt in there. So if it's less than 10% in Turnitin, definitely it's not what do you call, it's a fake one. You can't say it's a true, it's a really, what do you call, a genuine one, all right? So low similarity rate in Turnitin is where we pick that assignment and then we pass it on to the contract cheating experts in the university, and they will do the remaining for us. So high standards of academic writing, if you find, yes, then that is again contract cheating, because we know the student beforehand. We know how the student is in the regular quizzes and in the regular exams and things like that. So we know how the student perform. So if the student suddenly performs out of a blue moon, if he or she performs brilliantly, then that's something to be doubted. So a high standard of academic writing, again, it's a diagnosis of contract cheating. Unrelated work, and sometimes they give unrelated references. So the contract cheaters have done the work, and now the time for the references. So the references, they'll put something in something in something. So from the references, you can easily pick whether it's contract cheated or not. So these are ways in which we can find contract cheating. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so these are three models of the contract cheating. So the left one, we know about many authors have got ghostwriters. So student orders the essay directly to a ghostwriter, or the student orders the essay through an essay mill. There's something called an essay mill that's available. And then it can also do it through, yeah, so they can also ask their family members to do the essay for them. So the family members or relatives or your past teachers or, who know the subject really well, doing it for you. So all these are kinds of contract cheating. It all comes under collusion too. So collusion is a simple word. You're not supposed to copy from others. And it's just copying. So you can't acknowledge your work because you know that you have copied something, you've done something which you're not supposed to do. Or can we move on? So collusion is when you copy work, even when it don't involve money. So it's not about buying and selling or anything, but working with anyone else to produce any part of your individual assessment. All right. So that is, again, collusion, copying work from others, or you're taking the work from others and then you're not telling them that you've taken the work. It's kind of stealing the work. So that's collusion. And it's also unacceptable to submit the work or part of the work of someone who studied the unit or topic previously. So sometimes, the younger kids will take from the elder kids. So that's something that we usually do. All right, we have got elder sisters and brothers who have completed the course. We use that to prepare our work. So that's again collusion. So someone in the family doing it for you, your mom or dad doing it for you, it's again collusion. And we also have to make sure that you don't write for others. When others come to you for help, you can give them the idea, you can tell them what it is. Open discussions are always good, but it's just that when you write it out, it should be your own writing. So when drawing on other sources in your work, always appropriately and accurately acknowledge. Do not submit any work that has been purchased. So it's contract cheating. Do not upload your work to a website that allows other students to download or reuse. This is again something which students always do. When they get a question paper, they put it up online and everyone gets that question paper. So do not work with another person to produce any part of an assignment and then submit this assignment as your own work, right? That's collusion. Do not submit any part of an assessment that another student has submitted previously, or even you have submitted previously. So that's self-plagiarism too. Can we move on? I think I've come to the end of the presentation. There's one more slide. So what are the consequences if you do all these? It comes under academic misconduct. And you will be heavily penalized for academic misconduct. So first, once you do it, you will be given a letter of warning. You will have a meeting with your teacher or your coordinator or whoever, giving you a warning that you have done this and you're not supposed to do this again, okay? And then request for more information in a meeting. So if it's contract cheating, it doesn't end there. But plagiarism and collusion, okay, with a letter of warning, we can wind it up. But contract cheating has to be investigated further. There might be a couple of meetings which is required with the student to find out what the student says. And the first time, they're not going to disclose everything to you. So they'll also hold it back. And then maybe we need a couple of meetings to get it out from the student. Finally, they should admit that they have done the contract cheating. A mark penalty for the task. Usually Turnitin itself do the mark penalty and the final mark will be uploaded on the grade by the Turnitin itself. We don't have to mark it at all. Most of the assignments we don't mark. So we have assigned the Turnitin and the system to mark it. So Turnitin marks and the marks comes up or goes to the student. And that's when the student know, oh, I didn't check the plagiarism. All right. Now the Turnitin also allows the student to check the plagiarism when it is being submitted. So once they submit the link onto the link, the Turnitin immediately tells them that, well, this is 50 to 60% plagiarized. Do you want to continue? The student can take it back and then rework on it and then put it again. So Turnitin gives that option to do it. And submission of a different task, so they can be allowed to submit the task again. 0 marks with task. So if it goes above 50 to 60%, if you're still continuing with submission, then you will be awarded 0 marks. Fail of the subject, suspension from study, and you will be expelled from the university if you do it again and again. And even depending on the gravity of the situation, because contract cheating, not just warning, contract cheating, once you're done, that's it. But plagiarism and collusions, we still give them options of working out. Yep, so I think with that, I finish my presentation. So if you have any questions regarding how it's been carried out and things like that, I can help you with that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your amazing speech and sharing, for your great thoughts and knowledge and ideas on academic integrity. And now the mic turns over to Anurima, for the queries and doubts, for taking queries and doubts from the participants. Anurima.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please proceed. Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I would like to express my views. First of all, I would like to tell you that your session today was not only enlightening on an academic level, but also on a conscience level. That it also boosted our conscience. So it's not just an academic lesson, it's a life lesson actually. So thank you
Exactly.
so much for that. Yes, ma'am. So thank you so much for that. And you made my work quite easy because you were already reading the chats. Still, we have a few questions that I'd like to pose to you so that we can discuss. One of them has been asked by Lakshmi Prabodh. She has been asking that checking plagiarism at the grassroots level is welcome suggestion, but is the infrastructure supportive at the level in India?
Yeah, see, Turnitin, if the university has got the provision to use the Turnitin, then why not put it up in the grassroots level? So anyway, the university have purchased the Turnitin, isn't it? So why not go to all the lecturers and professors and all the teachers there so that they can run their assignments through the Turnitin? So all that you have to do is when you receive the assignments or the assessment from the students, don't receive the hard copy of the assessments. Don't receive it through email, but you create a submission link in your Moodle page or your portal page, your website or wherever, where the students have to go in and submit the assignments. So that's where you can set up the Turnitin, right? So before it comes to you or before you start marking it, the Turnitin has already gone through that and given you an overview of what the student has done. All right. So if the university have already purchased the Turnitin, I think it would be easy to have it in your platform. So it's just that you need to have that in your platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Another very good question that I can see from one of the participants, Isha Banerjee. She is asking that how can we differentiate between plagiarism and simple commonality of thought?
Well, again, when we are looking at, that's a very good question. We are looking at different ideas from everywhere, isn't it? So again, you will say that, oh, well, I too thought that way. So maybe there was a great scientist who put forward an idea. Well, I also thought that way, isn't it? So when I say that, it comes up as a scientist said it, and I'm not it's not my thought, right? Yeah. So we are not talking about the common thoughts, but we are talking about the real, what we call deep concepts. That's what we acknowledge. All right, because we know that for the scientists, it was not just a thought. They've gone forward so much to put it into the rest of the world. But for us, it has just remained a thought still, isn't it? So look at the hard work they have done to put it across to, as for a scientific discovery, it's like, you have to, it's a hypothesis, and then it comes to a law, and then it comes to a theory. And there are so many ways of, that's a scientific method of how the rest of the world accept that particular theory or that equation. So it's not it's a strenuous process for the researcher or the scientist or whoever. Okay, so we need to acknowledge that. Maybe it's a simple thought, was a simple thought in you too, but you need to acknowledge them because they've put it across to the world before us.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would just like to pose one last question, not taking too much of your time. Shishirkant Bhattacharya, one of our participants, has asked that how can self-plagiarism be understood?
Yes, self-plagiarism is when you have published that work before somewhere, all right? And then you're using that same thing again. So see, even the publishing companies in India, even in any part of the world, you will find that they will not accept your work if you have put it as a Facebook post before. Do you know about it? Yeah, that's self-plagiarism. Why don't they accept it? Because we have published elsewhere before. So if you look at the good book companies, if you look at HarperCollins or Penguin Books, they will not take your piece of work if you have put it as a Facebook post before in your timeline, in your own timeline, right? So that's self-plagiarism. That's not acceptable because you've made public somewhere else before, and therefore they cannot take a royalty of your work.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing all our doubts and queries. And now I would like to revert back to Smita, ma'am, for taking over the session.
I think that we have lost her. Madam Madhu, please take over.
Thank you, Arunima, for this. Thank you, Arunima, for this question session. And now I invite Dr. Jaya Tiwari to put forward her closing remarks on the 3 sessions that we had today. I invite Dr. Jaya Tiwari, Head of the Department, Government PG College, Raipur. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Madhu ma'am. Thank you very much. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Kesri Lal Verma ji.
Ma'am, please speak a little louder.
Okay.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you.
Am I not audible?
Yeah,
okay.
but the sound is very feeble. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Kesri Lal Verma ji. I hope it is okay now.
Yeah.
Again, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Kesri Lal Verma ji, Registrar Dr. Girish Kant Pandey ji, Dr. Shail Sharma, Head, School of Literature and Studies, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur. The guest speakers of today's session, Dr. Anil Paliwal, Dr. Gajendra Singh Chauhan, and Dr. Deepa Ram, convener of this program, Dr. Madhu Kamra, members of the organizing team, and participants, a very good afternoon to one and all. The 3 sessions of the second day of the international webinar on language, literature, and media in contemporary times provided a literary treat. I hope all of you will agree with me. The first speaker, Dr. Anil Paliwal, paved the way with his thought-provoking views on literature and media. Our lives are getting influenced by media, and at times one even feels dictated by them. He talked about how the focus of education is becoming less intellectual and more sensual, and it is an alarming situation in itself. Both literature and media have a serious role to play and greater responsibilities towards nation and society. They have to, fulfill their role. The second speaker added to the tone by said by Dr. Paliwal, Professor Gajen Singh Chauhan gave an enlightening presentation on Who Moves My News, the power of being media literate. And literacy is one thing which have to be taken care of particularly in the present scenario of COVID-19 pandemic. We all are questioning the authenticity, the fake news and the real news, what is what. And in that context, he raised several thought-provoking ideas on the reality behind breaking news, over information, and we are indeed living in a time where mobile has become almost a necessity, and the issue of media literacy again is a serious one, and we as spectators, we have to be even more careful in responding after listening to such kind of news and views. The culmination came in the discourse by Dr. Deepa Ram, who talked about academic integrity. Madam's presentation has actually given us some takeaways. I'm calling it takeaways because it will definitely help us and the scholars who are present here in this webinar in looking at the issue of academic integrity, plagiarism, the seriousness of the matter in today's context. We owe special thanks to all the three speakers. Thank you, Dr. Paliwal. Thank you, Dr. Chauhan. Thank you, Dr. Ram. We are also thankful to our Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. Kesri Lal Verma ji, for for helping us in organizing this kind of international webinar. I'm also thankful to Dr. Madhu Kamra and her team for for giving us such a kind of literary treat. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jaya. And now we come to the vote of thanks. And I take the privilege of proposing vote of thanks to all our dignitaries, presenters, as well as participants. So I, along with my ADD camp, express delight on being honored by the presence of much admired and esteemed Dr. K.L. Verma, the Vice Chancellor of our university, who made his blessed presence and also a very inviting address that he made. Equally grateful we are to Dr. Girish Kant Pandeyji, our registrar, for making his graceful presence on the show. We thank both authorities with gratitude. My equal word of appreciation goes to our head of the department, Dr. Shail Sharma, for giving me this opportunity to put up this show. And I'm also thankful to her because she was ready with suggestions whenever we needed. And with the promptness with which she rendered help to me, that is something which I will always remember with much indebtedness. Next, I extend my gratitude to all the presenters who appeared both from international and national territories, and they made intellectual and fresh information resonant to us. We thank Dr. George Onsi, Professor Kate C. Jose, Dr. A.K. Paliwal, Dr. Gajendra Chauhan, and my dear friend, Dr. Deepa Chandran Ram, for the intellectual labor, making spaces for us in their busy schedules, and also responding to our phone calls and also WhatsApp messages, making an enthusiastic climate for us to give our very best. Thanks to all our presenters for the hope that we derive from them, that we are welcome to bank upon them in future too. A big word of appreciation and thanks to all the participants who appeared on all platforms like Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook for contributing to the making of this show. Your eager and enthusiastic listening and interaction made our academic purpose behind the event much inviting. I recall what Socrates has said in one of his discourses, that one cannot teach anything to anyone, but one can make one think. And this is what our presenters have done and our participants have learned. Your questions to the presenters even gave sufficient clues to this. Thanks for your enthusiasm. Finally, with an enlarged thinking by the literary and academic contributions of our presenters, my A-Day camp have been complimentary in every way. My words of gratitude to Dr. Shell Bala Madam. I also extend greetings to Dr. Smita Sharma, then Professor Vikas Panchakshri, also to Dr. Chandrasekhar Sharma, Dr. Anurima, would be doctor soon. She is now putting in efforts for a doctoral, and this is a blessed omen that I name her doctor much earlier. And then also to Priyesh Das for being such a big support. Also my greetings to Dr. Shukla Banerjee, Madam Jaya Tiwari, Dr. Anita Kasturi, Dr. Somali Gupta, Dr. Suchitra Gupta for being our role models and making us follow their footsteps. My words of appreciation to the respective families of my ADD camp who freely availed any measure of time I demanded on their family members. Finally, the big word of gratitude to the Almighty who made it possible and gave us the necessary strength to put up this show. And before I close, my namaskar to everyone on this platform. Thank you so much. And with this, I seek the permission of the chair to make a final closure of this e-conference. Thank you so much.